everybody, and welcome to another episode of Trades Unfiltered. Today's guest, she has played a central role in her business since 2018, especially after her husband took it over in 2016 from his father. Over that time, they have seen massive growth, revenue growth, team growth, an awesome rebrand, and not slowing down, as we'll find out, despite some unique challenges. She is the co-owner, vice president of Rogers Heating and Cooling. Alyssa Rogers, welcome.
Thank you for having me. This is so exciting.
Really excited to have you too. So how about you just give our listeners just a quick idea of your context, quick snapshot of your business. Where are you at today, and what are you hoping to achieve, or what's your next goal?
Yeah, so we are located, of course, I'm Alyssa Rogers. I run Rogers Heating and Cooling in South Boston, Virginia, with my husband, Joey Rogers. And we have been after it since 2018 is when we kind of started together. We had two employees in 2018, kind of just me and him. I was in the office, he was in the field taking care of customers. And here we are in 2026 with over 40 employees and wanting to get much bigger than that. So we have a vision and a goal to get to $100 million in revenue. So it's going to take a lot of effort. We're not even close, but we're going to get there one day. And we truly believe that we can make big things happen in our area and beyond.
That is, I love hearing big goals. It's really exciting, even just to hear growth from you said, just those few people to now over 40. Um,
Yes.
how did you? Let's kind of start right at the beginning. You got started in 2018. Um, your role before that, I remember you shared with me just in our pre-meeting, you were kind of in a kind of a corporate area. But that was that anything to do with the trades? What experience did you have before that actually applied to when you got started in 2018?
Right. So I went to school for corporate and professional communication with a marketing background, and I wanted to climb the corporate ladder. That was my goal. And that's what I started doing upon graduation in 2010. And so I got a job in marketing for our local healthcare system and then moved on to a power transformer manufacturing facility and was in sales and project management there. So I love corporate America. I know a lot of people think like, oh, why would she love that? And I really do. And I love the ladder that you can climb and you can know your path. And so when I was there, I thought that's what I was going to do until I talked to Joey one day, and he has a passion for the trades. He has been in the trades his whole life. He loves them, is truly passionate about it. I didn't even know what a heat pump was or anything that went into the trades when I met him. And so he came home one day and he said, I want to take over the family business. And I have reached out to a marketing firm and they've created a logo for me. And he had this all planned out and he showed it to me and it was terrible. It was not good. With my marketing background, I told him everything that he needed to change and do. During that conversation, he told me, he said, well, why don't you join me on this mission to grow this company? And so, with some convincing, because it had to take me out of, what I thought I wanted to do, I did that. And
Hmm.
through that is when we took over in 2018 and completely rebranded the company to what you see today. And we've really been very passionate about the marketing side of the business and growing that side along with the trades and growing within that industry and learning everything there is that we can learn.
Sounds like a novel or a soap opera, corporate America meets rural HVAC trade company or something.
100%. If you would have asked me back then if I would be doing what I'm doing today, I would have said you were crazy. I would have said I would be living in a big city, in a big high rise corporate office. Like that was my dream. But here I am in a small town and still growing.
Hmm. Hmm. I missed a little bit of that because of the connection, but I'm hoping it was still recorded on your end. So, yeah, okay. So you joined the company 2018. I guess the first thing you're helping out with is this rebrand. And how many people did you say the company was at that point?
So when we did the rebrand, it was pretty much just me and Joey, and he had someone helping him in the field, and I was in the
Hmm.
office running the office, and it was just him and one other
Okay.
person.
So when you say taking it over from the family, so Joey's father had been running it. I don't know how long that was for, but it must have been largely just him and a couple of guys as well, right? So over that
That's
period of time.
correct. He started it in 1996, and he was very successful and happy with the way that he was running it. Okay. He was very happy with the way that he was running it, and it was just him and a couple guys, and he made a great living and grew a great customer base doing what he was doing. But Joey, following him and learning what he could about business and the trades, he wanted to make it much bigger.
Yeah, yeah, of course. And I don't know if you just said it, but give us an idea like how much, when Joey took it over, what was the sort of annual revenue you guys were doing? Because you're at 10-ish million today. How much was it back in 2016, 2018 time?
In 2018, it was 600,000 in revenue,
Hmm.
and
Okay.
now we're on pace to do well over 10 million.
Very exciting. And so you start doing this business with your husband, which I imagine would have been the first time for you guys, right? That you're like working together constantly almost.
Yes.
And so how many years, if you don't mind me asking, were you married before that?
So we were together. We started dating in 2011, and we got married in 2016. So we
Oh, so
lived
okay.
together. Yeah, and started working together in 2018. And people, when I said that we were going to do this, um, people are like, "Are you crazy? Why would you do that?" And I really wouldn't have it any other way. It's been great. There are definitely hard times, and it's definitely hard to sometimes be all business because it is our life. And people ask us,
Mm,
how do you separate the two? And I always tell them, we've gone all in for Rogers. And this is our life. I don't know what else we would talk about. Really, we do have an amazing 7-year-old daughter that is our pride and joy, and she's a huge part of our life. But, I was pregnant with her when we took over the business. So she's literally been part of it the entire time I have
from the
too.
beginning, she's
Yeah.
like
So
she's
it's
like
her life
actually the
too.
age of the business coming up with you. That's so good.
Exactly. So it's, she's the same age as Rogers Heating and Cooling is, and it's crazy how the correlation is and where the business is at, and where she's at, and how independent she is, and how independent the organization gets year over year. I always say it's kind of like it was a newborn when she was a newborn, and each year
Hmm.
has been just like that and followed
Yeah.
her journey.
So, what would you say then in kind of those early years? Obviously, so you did have experience in marketing, corporate world stuff. Having gone through it now, what were sort of some of the unexpected differences when you came into the trades industry? And that you could kind of give others an insight into being like, hey, you got to keep this in mind coming into this area. This is how it's different. This is how it's not different.
I think the biggest learning curve for me is although I was in corporate America, I wasn't in positions where I was managing people. And so I hadn't quite gotten to that level yet in corporate America. And so when you come in and you own a business and you start adding people to that business, there's a lot that comes with that. There's a lot of responsibility, there's a lot of things that you need to learn. And I learned the hard way. And
Hmm.
I made a lot of mistakes along the way with people we brought on board, people that I didn't manage correctly, and may still be here today if I had been more mature in my leadership skills during those times. So I think it's not really trade specific. I think it's growth of a business specific and really understanding where you want to go, what you want to do, and the type of people you want to bring on board. Because when I started, I was in the office and I said, okay, what do I do? And Joey said, I don't know, figure it out. Just figure it out. And so that's what I had to do. But I had to understand very quickly and realize that when we brought people on board, they needed to know what to do. I couldn't just tell
Hmm.
them, oh, figure it out. We'll figure it out together. They want a job description, they want processes, they need to know what they're coming in to achieve every day. And I really
Hmm.
failed there in the early days.
That's something I have heard repeatedly, like bringing on the right people, having the right team, all the people sitting in the right seats as well, because they might be a good person, but making sure they're actually doing the right thing. And since you do have a focus on marketing. How did, as your marketing kind of improved? Because I have heard that there's sort of this correlation in terms of how you present your business, the marketing that you have, and it it communicates not just externally, right, to the customers that you're wanting to serve, but it's actually communicating to the people you work with. You know, when they get to go out there in a Cool Rogers van or Cool Rogers truck, there's something different they're carrying, as opposed to, maybe when the brand isn't fully there or it's earlier on. So how have you seen that impact, the way you're able to build your team?
Yeah. So on the marketing side, when we started, we didn't have any money for marketing. I mean, it was a big deal to wrap our vehicles and our trucks and what you see today. Like, that was a huge expense for us when we just did the fully wrapped van. And so we didn't have a website for the first 2 years in business. And so I like to tell people that because they can see this big picture and where we are today and all the things we're doing. But when we first started, we couldn't afford to do the things we do today. So what we did is we hit the ground running and we did a lot of grassroots marketing. And that's kind of what my background was. In my previous positions. And so it was attending every event, getting connected with the community through different chambers and BNI groups and networking groups, and door knocking. The power of door knocking and asking for business. I mean, I tell every new team member that comes in today, and when I do interviews, when I was in that office by myself, I was waiting for the phone to ring. And every time it would ring, I would get so excited and do whatever I could to make that customer happy and make sure that we took care of them because we needed customers. And I still feel like that today. Our phone rings a lot more than it did when it was just me. But every single person that calls, I'm just so honored that they chose us because customers have options today. They have
Yeah,
all
there's
these
a
things at their
lot.
fingertips. And so when they choose Rogers, it's an honor because they didn't have to choose us. And so when they do, I want to make sure that they get the best experience, that we take care of them. And when they get off the phone, they feel like they made the right decision. And so I always try to tell that to our team when I'm growing the team and kind of where we came from, but really sticking to that core value that we had in the beginning, and that's no customer left behind. You take care of every customer, and that's what we've done, and that's how we've built our team too, because I don't want to leave a team member behind either. So marketing goes into everything we do here.
Yeah. And so in those early days, then when you're doing a lot of these networking events and you're doing door knocking, did you have a much bigger portion of your business being from kind of like business focused relationships, like real estate guys or builders, general contractors, or did you have a large residential? Like, what was that distribution? Do you remember? Or-
I'm glad you asked that because it's not something we've talked about often, but it's making me think back to those times. And when we took over the business, Joey's dad was involved with pre-manufactured home companies. And so they would, all of the double wides, mobile homes, pre manufactured homes, he had relationships with those offices in those factories. And so anytime that they would sell a house, we would install the heat pump, the electrical, and sometimes do the plumbing. But we would take care of that. So that was a huge part. I would say that was 90% of the business when we took over.
Okay.
And that was, you didn't have to do a lot of marketing. And his dad did a phenomenal job over the years maintaining those relationships and having consistent business come through the doors. But when you do business with them, they dictate how much they're going to pay you to do those jobs. And so Joey decided when we took over to end all of those contracts. So I like to say we had $600,000 in revenue when we took over,
But
cut
yeah.
it. So it was kind of like starting from scratch. And so we had to decide what are we going to do? And we focused heavily on residential. And so we didn't really do much commercial or anything like that. So we had to find customers and we had to find residential customers. And that was, we had to let them get to know us. And so that's why we were out in the community so much because we had to go to where they were and let them see us. So our main focus since 2018 has been residential customers and serving our community.
Well, let's talk about where you are today then, because you have told me that your service area has you're not in a big town, you're not in a big city, and so that changes a lot. Because it even I can see just in the way you're talking about how much that connection is important. I can even, I think it would be true everywhere, but especially those smaller, tight knit communities. When you get further out into those rural areas, suddenly that becomes a much bigger factor. So, give it what does your service area actually look like? Because I know you've said there's some unique challenges there.
Yeah, so we are in a small town. It's our county has 36,000 people, and we are the second largest county in Virginia land mass wise. Not people, but land mass wise. So we have a very large area with lots of land and not a lot of people.
Hmm.
So that is what people could
Lots of
say is
driving.
yes, lots of driving. We cover a very large radius and we have to go to some neighboring communities and counties to make up what we've done. And we know to get to our goal, we have to open additional locations and we're working on that now. But, in these small rural areas, they want great service too. And I think a lot of companies seem to focus on these cities, which is important because you have people, right? And you can get customers fast. And so I don't know what it's like to be in a city like that and to run a business. I will soon, but I don't yet.
You guys
And
will. What's that strategy called? Where I just remember it from one of the entrepreneur movies. Like I think it's the Facebook one, where they like get all the little towns around, conquer that, and then they're able to go in on the big cities.
it's so true because these smaller areas kind of get left behind because everyone's focusing on those large areas, and that's great. But what I find is a lot of them are driving through these small towns to get to the bigger one. And it's like you are driving past so much opportunity just to get to that bigger place. And so it's our goal to really focus on the areas that are getting left behind and still deserve really great service. And I feel like that's where we shine because we do love our communities and the people in them. They're great people. You have a lot of these areas too that have people that lived in cities for a long time and they're coming to the smaller ones to retire or live a
Mm.
slower pace of life. And they want the same great service here that they had in a city. So we're able to provide that to them.
So you had did mention you're in the process of opening other locations, but just to get a picture, so you're that 10 million, the over 10 million that you're going to do this year, is that largely just focusing on that 36,000 area, or is it go a bit broader sometimes, or that would be a good.
It does go a little broader. We did open our second location in November of 2024. That is in Lynchburg, Virginia, and it's really awesome the program we have for our team. Like I said, we want great people and we need to grow our team, and we offer a program here to anyone that wants to open their own location one day. They're able to do that with Rogers. And so we had an awesome service technician that wanted more and wanted to grow. And he was able to open up our second location for us in November of 24. So some of that revenue came from that second
Southern
location,
boost.
and he was
Yeah.
able to grow it really fast and did an amazing job last year. But majority of it is in the area that we're in. And we've had to expand out into neighboring counties, but it's that 10 million is within a 50-mile radius. And like I said, the first largest landmass county is right next door to us. So still not
Yeah.
a lot of
Okay.
people.
Right. And you, yeah, wow, okay. How's it gone opening that second location? Because I really believe in that strategy, especially just from a marketing standpoint. With when people, because after you build that reputation, people ultimately end up going to search you online these days as well. And if they're in, did you say Lynchburg? Or if they're in Lynchburg and they go to Google Maps, your one in South Boston's not going to come up, right? And so I really believe in that. But how have you gone? Like, did you guys go straight to sort of that digital marketing investment with the SEO and all that, or did you do a similar thing where a lot of community connection investment initially? Because obviously you kind of have them, you have the money now to just go straight to those marketing strategies. But what was your priority?
So really, we wanted to treat it like it was like we'd started Rogers, and and not take money from here and put it over here. And we wanted, and it's important for a branch manager to know what it's like to really grow a company from the ground up too. I mean, that's important. And so we knew it was going to be tough. And in Lynchburg, there are very great companies that have been around for a long time. And so we know that they have loyal customers, and that's okay. We wanted to be our own, and we knew that if we just dumped everything into digital, we still wouldn't show up first in searches because we didn't have that digital presence like the other companies. So it really did take. We have a location there, and so of course we show up on Google and we do have a presence, but we really focus heavily, just like we did here, of getting involved in the community and really boots to the ground and letting people know who we are, and then taking care of every customer that calls. It's just like it was an honor for me to receive a phone call in the beginning. It's an honor every time I see a Lynchburg number pop up now. It's, wow, they found us. They know we're here. They're calling us. So it's really cool to watch the evolution of it, but we've taken a lot of the same approach that we did here in the early days.
I think that's really exciting. Even just going back to the numbers you guys have achieved, even if it's 6 or 7, 8 million, like not including the other that other location. Just an account of 36,000 people. Like I think we get, you're right, we do get caught up sometimes in the big city, and there's so much opportunity. But another thing to think of is that with that greater opportunity comes the greater competition. And so if you know how to play the game in these smaller rural communities, which to me it actually just kind of it sounds like if you just do the legwork, you can actually take a lot of ground, make a lot of progress, because you just got to be present, and you got to have those conversations with people, and then be able to you know follow up and keep that relationship going. um, Over that time, so obviously, so your role has been, I know we've spoken just about the marketing. I don't know if you've had other things, but yeah, you said in the beginning your husband, what's your husband's name, by the way?
Joey.
Joey. So Joey out in the field, and you in the office, probably doing the bookkeeping and that sort of stuff, as well as focusing on the marketing. Just a bit more detail. What were your roles at the beginning? And then as you've grown to, I think it's 40 people now, right? You've got a
Mhm.
team of 40 people all up. How have your roles changed kind of over that time as the team has grown, so that kind of others can have an idea of, oh, I should be focusing on this, if my team's at that sort of size?
Ever evolving, like you said, yes, in the early days, I had to do it all. I wore every hat until it was
Taking
time.
calls, bookkeeping,
Calls,
website,
and it was
whatever.
24/7. I mean,
Hmm.
like I said, it was an honor for anyone to call. So if they called at 9 p.m., I was answering the phone. If they called at 12 a.m., I was answering the phone, because we just had to get to every customer, and that's what we wanted to do. But it got to a point where I was also a new mom and I needed some help. And I think that was the biggest eye opening experience for me. So we took over in January 1st of 2018, and our daughter was born on June 8th of 2018. And so that first 6 months, it was just like, oh, okay. And I would have conversations with Joey, like, we're having a baby, and like, what are we doing after, like, when that happens? It's like, I guess you just bring her to work with you and figure it out. And I'm like, okay. And so I remember I was still answering phone calls on the delivery room table, like, because there was no one, it was just me. And so, he's running calls. I'm like, okay, they're sending me over to the hospital. I just run this call, and I'm
That's
still
commitment.
dispatching him and letting him know he was there for her birth. But soon after that, I'm like, look, you have calls to run. Like, we're good here. She's good. Like, go run those calls. But it was an eye opening experience because the customers don't, I don't want to say they don't care, but they don't, right? They have an issue at their home. They're calling you to help them. They don't care that you're on the delivery room table or you're unavailable. They still have a problem at their home. And it's not saying that they were rude, but if we didn't go, someone else would, because they're not going to wait. And so it was eye opening to me because I needed help, because it's like, okay, now I still have payroll, I still have phone calls to answer, I still have all of this. So once I was good, for a while, and everything was good after her birth, I said, we need to add some people to our team. And so we started adding customer service representatives and dispatchers to help with that side of the business. And I still handled the marketing and the finance side of the business, and grew a team of people internally that were able to take care of customers and were able to get people to where they needed to be and handle a lot of those office responsibilities. And I'm so proud of that team in the early days because, like I said, I didn't do a great job at telling them what to do or how to do it. I just needed help. And we just kind of figured it out. But it then molded into so much more. And we were able to get a bigger space, and we were able to add a sales team, and now dedicated CSRs, dedicated dispatchers. And just this year, we were able to build a financial arm to the business and have AR and AP and different marketing roles. And so it's been an evolution. I'm still involved in some areas of the business that I was involved in the early days, but and haven't been able to let them go just yet. But it'll happen when it's time. But it really is now just managing the people that are in charge of the teams, the managers, and making sure that they're successful and everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, that's humbling and inspiring because I think a lot of people have, you know, that nervousness over hiring others. Am I going to waste my time on this person? Are they actually going to be able to help me? And it's that kind of time old rule of you learn by doing. You actually not you can read every hiring leadership book that's available, and you are still going to have a question come up that you don't know how to answer, a situation that you don't know how to deal with, and just to take that on the chin and keep going. Was there ever a point between now and 2018 where you ever had a serious conversation with Joey, like, should we really be doing this? Like, was there ever that sort of like, this
Weekly,
is too much immediately?
weekly, every week. I tell everyone, I'm like, if you're going to run a business and you're going to have a lot of people, be prepared to have more bad days than good. And when you have a good day, celebrate it because you don't know when the next one's going to be.
That's a roller coaster.
It
That is an
is.
emotional roller coaster.
It is every single day. I never know what I'm walking into. And there's a fear of, is someone going to leave? Are they going to put their notice in? Or is something
Yeah.
happening? And, we've had turnover over the years. And I don't like to shy away from that. So many people are scared to talk about it. But we've had turnover. And a lot of it was because Joey and I weren't the best leaders at the time to lead people. And another part, we didn't hire the right people and it just didn't work out. And then, you just make mistakes over the years. But I always say, even if it's a rocky time when people leave the organization, let's say it doesn't go well, and we're in a small town, so you have to remember the word of mouth. And if
Yeah,
someone
what they're
posts
going to
something on
say
social
about you
media,
after.
everyone
Yeah.
sees it. And so overcoming those kind of things in a small town. But, all of that stuff has led me to where I am today. I'm thankful for every single person that's ever worked here because they served a purpose when they were here and they helped us get to where we are today. Without them, we wouldn't be here. So I'm thankful for everyone that's been on the team. I'm thankful for everyone that's on the team currently because we're not perfect and we're figuring it out as we go. Joey always likes to say, I've never run a company this big today, but today is another
Yeah.
day. I've never run
Yeah.
a company this big before. Every
That
day is
is, that's fun. Did you guys, because the leadership challenges come up a couple of times now. Was there anything you and Joey did to resolve that? Like, did you get coaching, or did you read books, or did you literally just keep going, keep moving forward, and learn from the failures?
in the early days, we didn't have, where we are. We don't have access to a lot of people doing what we do every day, and so we were just figuring it out as we go. And then we were lucky enough to find some best practice groups in our industry and really get to be around people that were doing what we wanted to eventually do and that were much bigger in their thought process than we are. And so it really is getting around the right people and learning from them. We do read a lot. We are always trying to improve ourselves. If something happens, we're always looking at ourselves in the mirror and trying to see, like, where did we go wrong in this situation? How can we get better? So I think a lot of leadership is surrounding yourself with the right people, and we didn't do that in the beginning. And I feel like we follow really great people now that help guide us in the directions that we need to go leadership wise.
Cool. Well, just before we finish, I definitely want to make sure we talk about your goals. You and Joey have got some ambitious um, targets that you want to hit. Is there, because we've spoken a lot, leadership, hiring the right people, marketing. all those things. And I have a feeling it's all those same principles that are actually going to contribute to you hitting your goal. 100 million, when's your timeline? I know timelines always change, but when would you like to hit that ambitiously? And number two, is there anything different you think you guys are going to need to do um, as you get to those higher levels?
Yeah. So our goal is $100 million in revenue. And like we've talked about, we're at 10. So we are a tenth of the way there. We have a long way to go. And we're only going to get there by surrounding ourselves with the right people. And where we've made mistakes in the past is putting people in the wrong seats. And although they're great people, they may not be the right person for the positions that we put them in. And that's shame on us for doing that. But it's going to be getting smarter in our hiring to get to where we want to be, and really, really taking care of our team that we have that shows up for us every day. I mean, it's not an easy trade to be in. I mean, an easy industry to be in. Like, HVAC, electrical, and plumbing is 24/7. People need you all the time in the residential world, and you have to be on top of your game. It can be stressful. And so, for the ones that show up for us every day, I'm just honored to be in their presence because they're gifted and they're talented in so many ways. And to get to that next level, we're going to have to really work on putting the right people in the right seats and continuing to surround ourselves with people that think bigger than we do. And
Yeah.
people may think we think the biggest because we want to get to 100 million, but there are people out there doing it. And I need
Yeah,
to
and
let
then they're doing it, and their dreams are a billion.
exactly. So we're trying to get there, but it really is going to be expanding into other areas, providing opportunities to people they didn't know existed. Because in small towns, people don't think opportunities like this to grow are available to them. And we have that here.
So yeah, is that total rural expansion in your mind? Like you're going to be able to hit that goal? Because I'm sure you've run the numbers. Hit that goal just through a rural expansion, or will you actually be entering into some of the biggest cities as part of that $100 million?
Yeah, we'll be getting into some bigger cities for sure, and learning that whole process and figuring that out. And so, for us to get there, we're going to have some big cities, some rural cities and counties, but it'll be a mix. But you'll definitely hear about Rogers Heating and Cooling within, I'd say, we want to be there within the next 7 to 10 years.
Yeah, that's right. I really like the sound of that. Is there and one last kind of like strategy question surrounding that. Is this total just Cool Rogers expansion, more branch managers, more locations, or have you guys entertained doing, acquisitions of companies in those rural areas that you want to do and that sort of thing?
We may get there. Of course, that's a topic of conversation in the trades, but right now, we would rather put the money toward greenfielding a location than purchasing one and then having the risk of everyone leaving
Sure.
and here you are. And of
Needing
course,
to do the original strategy anyway.
exactly. And so greenfielding right now is working for us, but who knows what'll happen down the road and what opportunities will come. But for now, we are just going to show up and take care of our customers the best we possibly can and be honored that they called us.
Exciting. Well, we'll definitely need to do another interview when you are at that goal or further along just to hear the progress. One final word, because you've mentioned heaps of challenges, and it does sound like you and Joey just have a real sort of heart or motivation to just, hey, we're going to push through this, even though every week we're questioning whether we should do it or not. We're like, we got to keep going. What would be a word of encouragement that you'd give to someone who, you know, is at that low point, let's say, and maybe it's a more regular low point than, the average business as well. What's your yeah, what's kind of your encouragement to them just in terms of mindset, motivation, and moving forward?
I mean, a lot of it is this too shall pass. I'm a big journaler. I keep a journal and I've been doing it for 5 years. And it's a one a day, so one line a day. And I just kind of write and I'm able to look back year over year of where we were 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. And it really is crazy to see, like, in those really hard days. And like I said, there are more hard days than easy days in my world. I've gotten past it. And I'm like, wow, 2 years ago, I thought that was a hard day. I had no idea what was coming for me. And so you really do learn and grow from it. And it's through consistency. You can't achieve your goals without being consistent in what you're trying to achieve and having that vision and being aligned with it. And kind of looking at yourself in the mirror sometimes and saying, like, is what I'm doing today getting me to where I want to ultimately be? And if the answer is no, you got to change some things. And if the answer is yes, it's like, okay, well, it's going to be hard for a while, but I will get there. And so whenever I have a bad day, I always tell people, what do I do? I have a bad day. I go to sleep. I get up in the morning. I get dressed and I do it all over again. And I get up and do it and I don't quit. So you just can't quit. You have to be consistent and true to yourself of where you want to be, and you'll get there.
Yeah. And it really is possible. I think that's the lesson in terms of just doing the work. Strategies, team, hiring, all that sort of stuff may shift, but if you invest the time and got the heart for it, it's really exciting just to see
Yeah.
what's possible. So, going to be keeping an eye on Cool Rogers. The
Do it.
website at the moment, guys, says they have 18 people, so it's a bit outdated, but releasing a
Yes.
new website I hear soon, and that's coolrogers.com. And thank you so much, Alyssa. I have been really blessed just by being able to have this conversation with you. And I look forward to doing it again soon. And I hope everyone listening has enjoyed it as well. So thanks for watching.
Having me.